Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Sonic Triple Trouble. In the last part, we continued through the game, going through Metal Jungle Era, and we ended off in the middle of Tidal Plant Zone. And welcome to my least favorite act in the game. I hate Tidal Plant Act 2. Why? First off, I think in terms of stage length, it's probably the longest, even if you know where you're going. Because unlike Act 1 where you spend some time above water, I think you're underwater for 98% of this. And it's not very fun. And the slowdown that really happens in the water really becomes clear in this place. As does the kind of wonky physics that the water has in the Game Gear games. Not that water physics was perfect in the Genesis games, but you are a lot more in control of yourself there than you are here, I can tell you that for a fact. And hey, the scrambled egg things, how are you doing? It's also a bit weird, because in this place you start to notice that there are two versions of bubbles. The ones you can just grab underwater for air, and then the ones you actually go inside of, though the ones you go inside of are a lot more common. Really, my big issues with Act 2 are the exact same as they were in Act 1, only that this stage is about, I want to say, 2 to 3 times as large, if you don't know where you're going. And even then, this stage can also be a really massive labyrinth just with the amount of dead ends. Is it my least favorite water level in the series, though? Maybe. Because the thing is, water levels in Sonic are a bit of an odd thing, because a lot of them you can skip over the water as long as you try to stick to the top path and play well. The only real exceptions to that are this, Labyrinth, and, even Hydro City, if you know what you're doing. You're barely in the water for like 5 seconds. I think. Then again, what makes a good water level in any game in general? Because, well, I guess at the center of that idea is what genre game are we playing? If it's something like Subnautica, that's a giant water level anyway. But a lot of people seem to hate a lot of water dungeons in, like, explorative games like Zelda. Like, people hate the Water Temple. And while I like the Great Bay Temple, that's only because I have it memorized. But levels like, Hydro City, or Hydrocity, whatever, which one ever was, Hydro Blank, and Aquatic Ruin are loved, whereas Labyrinth Zone is hated. I guess maybe it depends on maybe the concepts and gimmicks the water level presents combined with the game's main mechanics. Like Hydro City and Aquatic Ruin, you can go fast in that. Labyrinth Zone in this, it's really hard to go fast in. Whereas, the Water Temple in Ocarina had some design issues in terms of finding your way around, whereas the Great Bay Temple, as long as you know what you're looking for, finding your way around that place is pathetically easy. Game design tangents are interesting, especially when you have multiple people to converse with it about. I actually remember back in my game design class, we got onto the topic of water levels, and there were some really interesting ideas thrown around in that. Either way, now we're in the final act of Tidal Plant. Get me the hell out of this place. Also, fun fact, I was originally going to speed up those past 2 levels by about 125%, but then I realized, no, and hey, Knuckles! Knuckles is, in fact, the boss of Tidal Plant, and he's actually pretty simple. He always sticks to the right. He has 2 attacks, 2 bombs from the top, and a single missile from the bottom that homes in on you. He always alternates those 2. Every few shots, though, he will head to the top of the screen, so a bubble can spawn, allowing you to not die via drowning. If you can get behind him, and in between him and the edge of the screen, you can kill him really easily, though, because you'll constantly be bouncing back and forth, causing at least 4 to 5 hits. It's a case of hard level, easy boss, to the extreme even. And with that, we're in the final zone, Atomic Destroyer. Which, not a name I would expect in a Sonic game, by the way. And I may have called some of the previous levels at times labyrinthine. This is the epitome of that, though, because this place is an outright labyrinth. And you can get lost in here, and your first playthrough, at least in my first playthrough, I was in here until around the 9-minute mark. So, yeah. Best way I can describe going around this place, use a map. Or if you just want to go do it legit, good luck, because there are a lot of branching paths, and some of them loop around to each other, and you can get lost very easily here. However, I already like it better than Tidal Plant, because I can actually go fast. Plus, the levels are overall pretty short, too. If you know what you're doing, these can be over in just over a minute. I hate that penguin bot, by the way, because it can always get hit. I always get hit by it for some reason. That particular one. Mind you, the biggest issue with Atomic Destroyer, at least with Act 1, is the maze itself. The enemies are no problem, as are a lot of the stage hazards. Which I guess is the point, but eh. Love the music, by the way. Fall left there to get some rings, by the way. I usually actually almost get hit in this section, but for some reason I was playing really well today, so that didn't happen. One of my few issues with this level, though, is its color scheme. Because there's a bit too much blue on the screen. They try to complement it, I think, with the red tunings and a bit of red highlights, but that could have been better choiced. But I'm not an artist, so what do I know? And now we're on to the final normal act in the game. And it's huge. It's another labyrinth level. In fact, I think it's even a better labyrinth than the last one. But there's a lot more routes to take on, and there are a lot more loops that you can be sent in. So this level is actually kind of annoying, but it's really fun at the same time. I like labyrinths. Though, admittedly, one of my least favorite kind of labyrinth is the Fire Temple kind of one from Ocarina of Time, where you know where your goal is, you just have to get something to unlock it. Actually, what is my least favorite dungeon in Ocarina? Actually, it might just be the Fire Temple. Because the Water Temple, the big thing with that is trying to figure out the trick to it and getting all the keys. It's either that or the Spirit Temple, I guess. Really, though, a lot of the hazards, as I said before, aren't very annoying in Atomic Destroyer. It is the level itself that is your biggest issue, not the hazards or the enemies. Whether or not that's a good design choice, I'm not entirely sure, actually. Because levels, obviously, the later you get in the game, should present more challenge, but the question is, should the challenge come from the stage itself or the things within it? But none of that cheap difficulty shit. I hate that stuff. Oh, okay, spikes. I actually always take that hit there because there's more rings right here and there's an invincibility box, so might as well. Oh god, I'm going this way. Random little thing, by the way, I love the invincibility theme for this game, even though it's incredibly short. Also, go over here for an extra life and a checkpoint. You don't need to do that, but I like doing it because the final boss can be kind of annoying. This section right here is the hardest part of the stage, actually, because there's a lot of tubes that can send you around in pretty much pointless loops. You're forced to just figure out the way around. Thankfully, I know the way around, but if you're new to the game, you might be stuck here for a minute or two. If I recall, my first playthrough of this stage was around 3 minutes, 36 seconds, so yeah, it could take a bit. And with that, we're on to the final stage of the game, which is a bit of an interesting one, because it's a bit of a rare occurrence in Sonic games, at least nowadays, at least back then. Nowadays, they're a bit more common, but not by much. It's essentially a sort of boss rush. You'll see what I mean in a moment, though. Make sure you grab those rings at the start, though, because you're going to need them. Oh, hey, rocket boots. Why do I need these? Hi there, Metal Sonic. Actually, now I think about it, isn't this your first appearance on the channel? Huh. Oh, why did you... First boss of this little boss rush is Metal Sonic from Sonic CD, which I still haven't played for the channel yet. I should get on that. And he is a pretty simple boss. He constantly cycles left and right, diving to try and hit you, but if you jump at the right time, you'll just hit him instead. And eventually he'll go to the top middle of the screen and start his dash attack, in which case he'll just dash from left to right and hoping he hits you. I'm not sure what the exact timing of his jumps are, because honestly, I don't care. I can regain that one ring constantly, so there's no real point to avoiding it. But if you want a good ring score, you might want to get that timing down. I believe it's the same timing every time he does that in the fight. It doesn't get like faster or anything. And at that point, he just loops. It's a very simple boss fight. And technically speaking, it's the first boss fight against him, because in Sonic CD, you just erased the guy. That was it. You didn't actually fight him. And Sonic 4 Episode 2 would later do the same thing, now that I think about it. Though I love the boss theme here. I wasn't paying attention to the boss theme earlier, so I forget if this is what the main boss theme was. I don't think it was, though. And he's down. Killed off screen. Ouch. And I thought the Hobbit was bad with that. And And we get a checkpoint, actually. So now we're on to the real final boss. Against... Knack? Okay. What's going on? I'm coming back? Okay. And Knack just runs away so we can actually have our final boss against Eggman, which is the real boss rush part of this because he's about 4 phases long. First phase is very easy, though, because you just jump on top of his head and never let go after that. At which point we're sent into phase 2, which is also technically the first half of phase 3. He has this little flamethrower thing, which will constantly hover across the top of the screen. Every now and then, I think it's like the second or third time he goes above you, he fires down a giant flamethrower, which just hits right down above you, actually. You just need to hit the sides of them, and eventually this phase will end. A lot of these phases are actually very simple. It's just the fact that damaging them can be the tricky thing at times. When you do enough damage to it, though, it has one last desperation attack. The flamethrower thing will fall to the ground and explode, which still explodes straight up, yes, but it'll also explode along the floor, so you're gonna need to jump over that when it happens. Though these things can take a good amount of punishment, actually. There we go. Fall to the ground and jump. At this point, the phase 3 is right now, obviously, but it only takes 1 hit to knock it off again. Then it has the exact same explosion effect. At which point, we can now just follow him over to phase 4, which is, as you would expect, the hardest phase. He's moving around this thing in a circle, with those shots in the middle constantly going off in a, I think, random pattern even. And we just need to hit him. It might not even show that we're hitting him, but we are. Eventually, though, he will slow down to the point of stopping in one of the 2 sides, in which case he'll do the ultimate attack of this thing, causing the 3 little turrets on the top that are on his side to shoot lightning out. The only one that won't be is the one on the far side from him. However, that's also a good opportunity to get some massive hits in if you have rings, so not really hard at the end of the day. It's the hardest phase, but only by default. Mind you, I guess this game overall has been kind of easy. It's harder than Sonic Chaos, I'll tell you that much, but not by much. And once he slows down like that, you're good, he's beaten. And how are you still running faster than me, damn it? I'm gonna press the switch and get away an elevator. Guess what, I did that in the first game too, or I could just blow you up. I'll take that last Chaos Emerald. Alright, day is done, let's go. But, really? He imprisoned you afterwards? Ah, well. Bros. Bros. And that's the ending. I believe that's the only thing that really gets added to the ending, too, because I think if you don't get all 6 Chaos Emeralds, he just escapes with the last one, you get a usual try again screen. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's Sonic Triple Trouble. Well, with the exception of Tidal Plant and the special stages, I think it's actually the best out of the Game Gear games. But those few things actually hold it back to not being my favorite. That belongs to Chaos. I do think it is a worthy sequel to Sonic Chaos, though. If you ignore the Chaos Emeralds and just go straight through the game, it's a really fun time, as both Sonic and Tails. Tidal Plant's the only real annoying zone in the game, and that's just because of how annoyingly slow and it is. Next up in the Sonic, well, not the Sonic Game Gear-a-thon. The Game Gear-a-thon, though, we're technically still doing Sonic, but it's not going to be focused on Sonic. It's focused on our little yellow fox friend here. We're heading on over to Tails Sky Patrol for what'll likely just be a one-off video because Sky Patrol is very short. If you want to play this, though, there are a good amount of versions, if I recall. There's obviously the Game Gear version, but good luck getting that. That's not on Virtual Console. It was in Sonic Adventure DX, Sonic Gems Collection, and that's about it. There was also, I think, a Sonic PC collection, but I'm not sure about that port. If I recall, though, this is the last normal-styled, quote-unquote, Sonic game on the Game Gear we're going to be playing for this little Game Gear-a-thon. There's technically one more game starring Sonic, but it's not good. It's not, well, no, there's 2 more, actually, but neither of them are that good. And the only reason I'm doing all these Game Gear games is because, honestly, while some of them are good, like, I actually really, like I said, I like Sonic 1 and Sonic Chaos a lot, but the console games are so much better. handheld Sonic wouldn't hit its stride. Wait, H. Kojima, what? That's actually not Hideo Kojima, even though it looks like it. It is someone else entirely. The handheld games for Sonic wouldn't really hit a good stride until Sonic Advance. And even then, for me, not until Sonic Advance 2. Because I didn't grow up with Sonic Advance 1. I started with 2 through a old elementary school book order. It's actually how I also got Sonic Advance 3. I actually never beat both of those games when I was a kid. I only beat them about maybe 3 years ago. By the way, I actually really love the ending here, the little credit sequence. Because the gradients that they're doing on the water is actually really nice. Though, I'm convinced we're flying around this island in a circle because it's not growing larger at all. So, good flying there, Tails. Yeah, I'm basically out of things to talk about because the thing is, the Game Gear games, another problem with them is that because they're so short, there's not really much to say about them. Well, thankfully, the credits are over, so yay. But with that, I'm going to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, have a great night, take care, and I'll see you guys over in Tails Sky Patrol. See you guys then.